great company is OFCS out of Houston, Texas. Go Houston.
And what is OFCS?
OFCS is a custom skateboard company that makes boards to fit your needs based on the way you ride, and which would include length, width, tail size, nose size, whatever, but it's all custom.
So what is so since you do custom boards, what's the craziest board you've had to cut out?
Oh man, I think as you've heard many times, nothing in skateboarding hadn't already been done. But I did the sawtooth sides on a board. It was an old Schmidt shape, and it looked the craziest, but it was a very well known board in the day.
Nice. And how long have you been in business?
Been in business for 8 years.
And so, what made you start your own business?
You know, I wanted to provide a way that people had a choice as to what they ride. In the day, a lot of boards were put out on the market, and it had a pro's name on, and we had to basically decide that that's what we were going to ride based on the pro that we liked. But really, all in all, those guys had the choices because they would dictate what they wanted as a shape. I thought if I could bring that to people that skate everywhere, then they would be riding something that fit their feet like a pair of shoes.
Very nice. And why the name OFCS?
OFCS derived from a friend of mine, Rick Hernandez, who took a real liking to the art part of my idea, and we ran some ideas back and forth, and he's a great graphic designer, and he came up with some ideas of OFAR custom skateboards based on some things that I had said, and then of course other friends that have helped me during the course of the years. Things have changed, and it became easier to say and easier to remember by going to OFCS.
And since you, the OFCS name kind of has the word old in it, who would your clients be?
Man, my clients are everybody that wants to ride something that really fits their feet. I mean, whether it be a 2-year-old, which I've made boards for, all the way up to a 60-something-year-old.
And how did you get into custom creating your own boards, and who taught you this trade?
You know, man, back in the day, 75-ish, I was the kid who had the engineering mind, wanting to know in boards that I saw, which at the time was a board with clay wheels, and we were putting boards together with old skates that had steel wheels, and I started trying to create my own board. My dad had a saber saw, and he would just cut me loose in the garage. He didn't interfere with anything, and I had creative juices flowing. And with taking art classes early on, junior high, high school, I just started getting real creative. I was the kid who took the serving trays out of restaurants and started gluing the trays together to see if I couldn't come up with a fiberglass board. And then over the years, of course, G&S did that.
Nice. What makes your boards different than the other boards that are out there right now?
Made with love, brother. I was once told that if anybody can put the ingredients of a recipe together and come up with a dish, but if it's made with love, it tastes extremely well. So all my boards are made with a personal touch, and as if it's my first and my last.
Very nice. So love is very important, huh?
Absolutely.
Would you ever streamline the production of your boards?
Man, I'm always up for streamlining the procedures and things to make things better. I don't think I'll ever mass produce. I don't think it's what OFCS is here to do. That being said, I don't look at OFCS as being a company that's in competition with anybody. I am a custom board maker, and my whole purpose is to make each board on a personal basis. So I would definitely streamline my procedures, update my equipment, and make things a little bit easier in that sense. But I think I'll always be making custom boards.
Now I noticed most of your boards have these unique designs on the bottom, you know, everything, and I've seen the very first generation of the OFCS boards compared to the boards of today. But what inspires the designs on the bottom of the boards?
There again, the skating industry's always kind of dictated what we ride and what we look at on the bottom of the boards. I just wanted to be different. And in the early days, of course, it was just something. I'm a real fan of abstract art, so therefore seeing something new on the board, one-offs that nobody will probably ever see again, and over time I have gone to things that I do repeat, but I'm all about the colors and the feeling at the time.
Do you have any flow riders that skate for you right now?
I do have flow riders. I have two. I have Renaissance and Ben Elliott. And my whole purpose with the flow riders is definitely not a sponsorship, but if I can take somebody who loves this as much as I do, and I see them riding with passion and energy the way they do, and I can teach these young kids how to be in touch with what they ride, and we can work together, then somebody else will see them ride, and then they will be able to help them figure out what they want to ride.
So how did you select the two that you have right now on your team? What caught your eye?
Man, one word: style. Ben Elliott's got a style that is unbelievable. It's very surfer, and Raina, she's got a style that you just can't turn away from. I mean, it's full of energy. She's driving forward, and by the way, she took third place in California. I think we're all proud of her here in Houston.
Do you feel like there's any competition with anyone here?
Never. And what I tell people, if you don't know what you ride and custom's not your thing, man, especially here in Houston, there's a couple of local companies that can that fix you with whatever you want.
Where do you see the company OFCS going in the next 5 years?
OFCS has got a lot of things on the agenda for what I want to see it grow into. Some I can disclose, but for the most part, I just want to keep moving forward for as long as I can and put something back into the skating that I love so much.
All right, now we're getting into some fun questions because I've seen you at the skate park. I see you rolling on your board. I see you carving. I see you, you know, trying all these nice old school tricks. But what or who got you into skating?
Man, I've been skating since probably the mid-'70s, clay wheels, steel wheels, and we started pushing on sidewalks and stuff all around the neighborhood. Basically infatuated. I took wood shop. I couldn't wait to get out of shop, making my own board, get out of school, and just roll the neighborhood. And then, of course, when I got my first skateboarder magazine from the grocery store, they carried one. And I went and talked to the manager, and he would hold it back for me each month. And just seeing the things done in the magazine, it just kept growing and growing, and pretty soon I was bit. And it's just, any skater, I tell you, once you start riding, you can't put it down, regardless of how old you are. You still, even if you have to sit on it in catamaran.
So at the age of 55, why do you still skate, and how long have you skated?
Man, total years, I'm not real sure, but it's been a long time. And I skate for the self challenge and the flow of things. And for the most part, at this age, it's not what you can accomplish, it's just being able to do it. I heard Doug Saladino tell somebody, it's not the fact that we want to compete, it's the fact that we can still do it. And I thoroughly agree with that. So basically, at this age, it's the camaraderie with everybody that loves it as much as I do.
So at Laid Out, we have a special section in there just for distinguished gents. So being an older distinguished gent, are there any physical limitations?
Yeah, there sure is, man. It's called a handicapped mind. I think anybody would agree that our minds keep us from succeeding with anything we think we might try that day.
And are there any last words from Mr. OFCS himself?
Yeah, be grateful, act with love, check your motives, and watch your attitude and forgive.